So, hi Wolfgang. The most important question ever. What was your first computer?
Oh, hi, Adam. My first computer was an XT 286, an AT 286, 386 followed. It was very fast, and my favorite at that time was an Atari 520 ST. And this machine was not for gaming. It was just for assembler code, and it comes along with a C compiler. Because it got the Motorola 68,000 and the series on it, and that was my one and only lovely thing, the Atari.
This surprised me right now because the 286 XT it was pretty late actually. So you didn't start it as as a young boy with 3 years hacking something?
Yes, I started in the age of 14.
Ah, okay.
My neighbor was a teacher for physics, and he owns all the stuff. And I spent all my days after school with him in the afternoon and in the evening, and we sit down and did something. And then in our school, I choose in the age of 16. It was on data technology, digital technology called though. And so we have a computer room, and we were surrounded by computers by my neighbor and in school. Mm-hmm. And then later I bought own computer, and that comes along with my first company, my software company in 1987. And therefore I bought all the things. Surprisingly on Intel-based, but for the industry controllers, that was all possible with the Atari. This was a real usage because you can verify the debugging on C and on assembler code, where control devices are possible to build. With all the electronic equipment I used to have in my cellar.
Uh-huh. I had a ZX Spectrum, my first computer, and I was pretty much alone. And what I noticed that in the neighbor city, there's a university of computer science, and there was something like hacking environment from students. It really looked like, something like, army shelter or something like this. And this is where I the first time saw Atari 520 ST. And the Atari 520 ST, for me, it was a beautiful machine. What I remember is this was the keyboard. And after the keyboard, it was like a flat area with some buttons. And there was one game, I only saw the game with beautiful graphics. And this was like something with karate games, something like that. And I saw this, and it was, wow, there's no colors. And this was like, for me, incredible. It's a completely new world. So this was how I got with the 520 ST in touch. And and it was very similar to Amiga, not the Amiga 500 or 1000. So they were very similar machines, right? It was not the 500, was the base one, and there was the one later was the similar to 520 ST.
That was the opposite crowd with Amiga, and we this took for almost 10 years because you could use it almost in the 90s, where industry control devices for customers. Was written on the Motorola processor architecture, and the assembler was very nice. It was a total different architecture to approach the specific instruction set of the processor, the Motorola processor, and this was straightforward.
Was it 68,000?
68,000, and the whole series about what I said before, the 68,000, 10, 20, 40. And these processor units were amazing. The instruction set and all that stuff, and it was a logical appearance if you build an assembler program native to that and compile it and see it, and you have the C compiler with it. And that means we did all the stuff in C and could optimize this at assembler line code. And on the other side, we learned in the early days Pascal. Sometimes it starts with basic, but this was something we got in school. The whole structure was always the same, quite the same. But Pascal was the most serious language to start with, and this comes to C with Koenig and Ritchie.
You see,
and this was
I had
our
completely
Bible.
different, opinion from you. I always saw, in the front row of German conferences, a nice guy. I thought, you are like the marketing guy from Sun or from Oracle. I didn't even knew. And now it turns out you are actually an assembler hacker, right? So you understand assembly, you understand C. So you're a low-level guy, right?
That's how I started.
And you ended now as what? What is your official title now?
Now my official title is systems engineer for Java and GraalVM.
Oh, so it's not as bad. I thought you're like your senior manager of client side or whatever, but this is actually pretty technical.
No.
So it is not that far away from your roots actually, especially GraalVM.
Yeah, of course. That's the reason. Last year, I was really asked by the Java team to join them on the worldwide international group, and I did this from beginning of this year to join the Java group. Of course, I always did the same stuff, so.
Wait a second.
Let me tell
this
you.
becomes too interesting. So we have to know to cover a little bit of your history right now. So what interests me? So you jump to assembly 68,000 and C, but I cannot imagine that you as a 14 years old kid just started hacking assembly. So what was your first? What was the very first minute on your computer? What you did and what happened after this?
The very very first minute were really with my neighbor. These programs, we just got into basic programs with loops, calculating numbers, and that was amazing that you can all the maths you can do on a paper, you could do in loops and print out in a line the results, and that never. This is something which totally embraced me.
So you started with coding immediately?
With my neighbor, because he was very advanced on that, and he showed me that, and so we worked on that also as a for fun, for my side, and that was really something. It was a complete new world. That all the stuff you have learned in school, you can automate, you can put in procedures, and this was evolving. And in school, we learned about the age of 16 how to build these physical things, to put it on a equipment, electronic equipment, and so. I always iterated this and learned more and more with digital technology. How could you do this? You use ICs, integrated circuits with AND and NAND and all these different things. I ordered the books from Texas Instruments. Then we had all the stuff, how these things working inside with transistor technology and integrated circuits, and we built on our own these little electronic devices, and always flanking with software technology, which was evolving. So I don't remember on specific programs in BASIC. More likely in Pascal. but more and more later on with assembler and C.
So you never played games?
And, no, not really.
Right. Perfect. So you are the natural programmer number 2 at this podcast. The natural born programmer number 1 was Tanya from Eclipse Foundation. She did exactly the same. So I had also a completely different impression from her because I met her the first time at JAX, and I said, okay, this is like a manager, like you. But it seems right now the two guys, Tanya and you are the just natural programmers. So I saw the games first, and then was curious how it works, and then I got into programming. But in opposite to you, I didn't have any neighbors which understood me. So I also tried to do something with ICs, and I tried to solve the stuff, but it never worked. So this was my problem. I spent, hours to make something work, but I always did a mistake, was too hot or too cold or whatever. And I said, okay, I'm just too stupid to do this. And then I waited a little bit and then relearned programming again. But my problem was there was no environment, no hacker-friendly environment.
Yeah, that was really good. And comes to me because I started at the gymnasium 3 years.
Where was it? What city? You know
it? It was in Offenbach. Okay. It was a technical gymnasium, and they were the first. And I choose this one because we learned all that stuff. And so it ends up with Abitur. Mm-hmm. And then I started with a training as electronical engineer at Dupont de Nemours, and for three years. And we built these kind of controls for large equipments. They were in the printing business for photo stuff, and it was huge. And we did all that stuff with electronical devices to keep the maintenance of the whole factory running.
Oh, uh-huh.
And after that, I joined the Fachhochschule in Darmstadt, the so-called practical university for 4 years, and with digital technology. Oh. It's called the data technology.
One question, because Thomas Wöttinger from Gralvian told me that in Darmstadt there was the very first internet conference, and I say this is not possible in Darmstadt. This is
could be because they had the GSI. This is like the DAISY or CERN. It's in Darmstadt, and they observing particles if they got a large velocity, and they had written C programs and all that stuff, and all the people were around there in Darmstadt, and it was an amazing time. And during that time, I started my company. A friend of mine, he was a founder, and he got the budget. And with 5 people, we were self-contracting and working on that, writing a network infrastructure program. That was before novel networks and starting with Banyan Vines at that time. And we had 2 developers on Pascal writing an ERP system, and we were working with all the stuff together. Starting from scratch, the physical architecture with own network cards coming from Taiwan, and all that stuff we established the whole communication, remote control for customers, and from scratch, everything, from the cable to the software, end to end. Okay. That's really end to end at these days. And after I finished my university in Darmstadt, then I joined Oracle because they offered a trainee program where you learn an enterprise company from scratch.
1 second, please. What interests me, it seems like your how to call it, your career was like straight. So you had some internal motivation to learn programming and then start a business. So the question is, why? Also what was your fascination? Was it like you saw a movie, you wanted to be, I don't know, to be more knowledgeable in some areas? What was your fascination with the programming?
So programming was more things I learned, to more I get my intrinsic motivation.
Okay.
That's for real. It's maybe an obsession or a passion about that. The more you learn, you more questions you have, and you more you want to do with that. And for me, it was more or less the Kernighan-Ritchie, where you see how you control things, including libraries and pushing compiler button, and finding problems, debugging the stuff, going for errors and warnings. What is it? Where does it come from? Yeah, and it never gets me untouched.
Yeah. And who were your idols?
I don't think I have one. It's just around all the people there, and I remember many people there in these years, working with them, joining with them, having discussions with them, and maybe solving problems, having weird ideas, all that stuff you learn about. And that was something what always embraced me very, very tight.
Okay, so to summarize, so you started with C or assembler, right? With your neighbor. This was your...
with Pascal. Basic, Pascal, and then later C and assembler.
And then you started at Technical Gymnasium in Offenbach, and then you studied computer science, or what you did afterwards?
After the gymnasium, I did
electronic school. You said.
I worked as electronical engineer. Okay. I just learned that in 3 years. At DuPont, and then I started my university in Darmstadt. And during that time, concurrent, I had my own company as self-contractor.
During your study, you started your own company, your own business.
Right.
And why that? You wanted to earn some money, or what was the idea?
No. Many people around myself asked me for doing some things, and hey, we have a light show. How could we do that? A laser light show for events. And I said, okay, let's look. There was a company where they put in laser light shows in Bochum, the TARM Center, and we put in that stuff in our whole own environment for large industry events, show events, and all the effects comes along to animations. If you turn a large stage with people on it, with a motorbike on it, and turn it and showing their products in the industry. That was quite different. It was just something you could realize that you can do this with all the physical stuff and with software controls. That starts at these days. In the early days, in the 80s, people just move things by hand, or with manual things. And if you think about a laser show for large customers in Germany, you used the animation where a hall of people with 2,000 people, and you do the effects behind, which are controlled by these systems. It was just an example, but surrounding me, the people, they just ask me for doing something. Hey, you know about this technology? Could we do this and this? And they all were in business, and this maybe not by random, but this was something which was a straight through thing. If you always are in the same crowd of people, just amazed by technology, they ask you if you can do something, and piecing missing pieces on that to fit in.
Cool. So I assume back then you were probably a huge Pink Floyd fan as well, right?
Right.
Just assuming, just because, and your dream was probably, to help them with their concerts, right? Live shows.
No, I really grew up with that kind of music.
Yeah. Do you actually know the concert movie from Pink Floyd where I think it was not The Dark Side on the Moon. It was one later, where at the beginning of the show the technician takes on a cigarette and it lights it off with the laser. You see it on the movie. So this was
all that stuff. But it was earlier with albums called Metal and these kind of things. And my neighbor, he wasn't only a physics teacher. He was always also playing in a band and was experimenting with synthesizers and all that stuff. So how to create noise on that was something what really was interesting. Creating noise on an electronic device. So
I'm assuming you also like Jean-Michel Jarre with magnetic fields.
Yeah, right. That's all the stuff. John Miles and these kind of things. Everyone was playing John Miles with his laser shows, and just need to arrange the light and the effects, and that was just interesting. Yeah, it was just a part you saw, and then you go through the next thing. And what was really good at that time, we learned about what is an ERP program, that a small company have possibility to control their contacts and writing high volume letters automatically on printers and all that stuff. Yeah? So it comes more to a business purpose for the network technology. But
how you got this
time,
idea? So I mean, what laser? I understand. If you like Pink Floyd, whatever.
That was just fun. That was just fun. Where my friend had a company at that time doing events for all that stuff. He built the whole stage on that. And that was a different thing. And the other thing was more related to the network technology. That was a friend of mine who founded his company, and we were self-contracted there. And that was the thing we learned much more what you can do on the network, because it was evolving. At this time, Novell Network starts, and we had all this stuff ready. This was before Windows. Microsoft Windows was there, and we had all this stuff. And I was maintaining all these customers, and from scratch, from the physical structure up to their program.
And which programming language was it? This ERP system.
This was Pascal.
Okay. And what happened afterwards? So were you successful with the ERP system? And what was the name of the system? This is always interesting.
I don't know if there was a name, a right name. Okay. The company was called Modis.
Modis, okay.
And but it was really a niche, because it would be succeeded at that times by KHK, which is how it's Sage. And so that was the reason in 1992, I started the trainee program at Oracle. And this was.
So, you saw you got an email, you saw an event. So how you got the idea to join Oracle? Or
yeah, it was interesting because I learned about that network and ERP stuff for small size companies, that there is an enterprise area here, where people invented a database. It was at that time Oracle 6, and I asked for that, and lots of friends, they said, "Oh yeah, that's really great. This is a database, and they need to access this with network, and that was something what really was interesting, and I would I thought, hey, how could you learn an enterprise company in a year? All the stuff which is included, and that was the possibility. Oracle asked for a trainee program, and they invited many people, and they started with 12 at that time in 1992.
Okay.
And so I joined Oracle, and I did this program for 8 months, and afterwards they employed me for network consultant technology, and I did this 3.5 years with a database building client-server applications. This was an initial part of introducing client-server stuff. And this was something really amazing. We had an event at Oracle, and I met a guy, Mark Benioff, and I asked him, "Hey, you are the president of client server at Oracle. That must be amazing, yeah? You have a client and a server and the whole technology and the network." And this was really great. And he's a really amazing guy, which is really powerful. And I guess he was in the age of 27 at the time. And we spent the evening there talking about these things. And that was really good. You learned all the stuff, how you put records in small pieces and maybe retrieving thousands, and this should work. I was looking with electronic devices, with net and analyzers, about losing packages within client-server technology.
Like Wireshark, something like Wireshark, right?
All the stuff, finding problems, but doing this from physics, from the OSI model, layer 7 layer model, to the software stack. And so I worked in a software project. And a colleague in that project at Deutsche Telekom, he asked me, "Hey, please join Texas Instruments for application development within a case tool. It has C base and pseudocode, and we need as well something for database optimization." And then I joined Texas Instruments. It was the James Martin company. And that company was sold after 2 years, and that was the reason I looked after a new company. And what could you join? That was Sun Microsystems in the early days. Was 1997, and Java was at the right stage to start with.
Was it Germany?
Yes, it was in Germany.
So was it in Heimstetten?
No, it was in Frankfurt, in Langen, close to my home. Surprisingly, all the companies had locations close to my home in the south of Frankfurt here. And that was interesting. And I never need to move somewhere else. I always thought, maybe Düsseldorf or maybe Munich. But no, we have an office in Frankfurt. You can join there. So I joined Sun Microsystems in Langen and started with the Java stuff, evangelizing internal people about the power of Java, and growing up with all that stuff. I immediately bought a Sparc Classic station, putting on the database, and heading all the environment to work on these kind of enterprise software in my home. Own office.
So I worked as a freelancer for Sun Microsystems. I delivered courses at that time frame. I think I started around probably 1998, and I just focus on the architectural courses and network courses, and I only deliver the Java basics. This is 275 SL 275 Java programming basics on the ones or two, and focus on the others. But we had in the classrooms the Sun, I think, Ultra Sparc 80 workstations, so nice machines. And I wanted to have one because I say if I deliver courses, so I could just play with it at home. And I asked the people at Sun how to buy one. You can give me a discount or not. I would really like to buy one. And the funny story was, they couldn't. there was no way, to buy the machine. And then I understood why, Sun was not very good at business. We will try, we will try. Just how to. I'm at Sun Microsystems. Please, point to someone. I would really buy the machine. And even funnier story. I don't know whether you remember. I bought the IDE from Sun called Sun Java Studio and Sun Java Studio Creator. So the one was the IDE and the other one was like Java Bean framework where you can connect with pipeline Java beans and events. And it cost me 200 Deutsch marks. And the funny story is, in order to get that, I was classified as enterprise Sun customer. So I got, the fancy catalogs. I think each of the catalog would cost probably 50 euros as it looked like. And the cool story is, with that, I got credit for about 1 million. So I was back then a student, so I could actually buy, the 18K without having any money, and and this was the other opposite. And I said, okay, in order to actually get the Sun Workstation 80, I just should, start with the IDE, and then we'll get the credit, and then I could buy it. But this was a funny situation, and I never had one, actually. I wanted to buy one, but it was mission impossible to get one. So this was,
That was very hard. I asked the colleagues to buy one before, and that was a problem because they always had these high amount channel
this was the problem.
at Sun Microsystems, and selling the hardware to the partners. And I asked really for more than 1-2 years, because in the other company I was still there working with my colleagues, and we had the old company running on Sun on a certain part, and it was quite difficult, and I ask really for, and as an employee of Sun, before I was an employee, I got a showcase machine which was new, but it was declared as a refurbished machine. That was the only way to get one for a normal price. I was surprised, but I was very happy. As I joined Sun, I already used to have this Sun Sparc Classic, and that was really good, because you need to have the system 5. Which comes to Solaris later, and to get in touch with this. That was at the same time with Linux evolving.
You learned Java static at Sun, or you knew Java before?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I learned Java at Sun. I saw it immediately, and I knew it before, but this was clear that being at the right place, and having all the material there, and that was his initial driver for me.
What is your impression of Java? So you saw the syntax, and you with your background. So what was your impression?
It was very good, because these write once, run anywhere was really the initial driver for all the people. They say, okay, we did not need to have the different compiler stuff on different machinery, on different systems. And that was something, if you use it, you could just run it. Yeah? And before, I always need to recompile. For each step, I need to recompile the whole program. Yeah? Which was fine at this stage with C, and that's valid. Yeah, but this was really new, that you have something on a level of compatibility, and you could really have different ports. Yeah, and so I think that would be too much. We did the stuff for different devices. We had at that time thousands of square meters for old computer stuff, and where I looked into how could you restart this? Is this something you can sell with my friend's company? Yeah, or is this something you just bring back to work? Yeah, large computers, smaller. Yeah, and we were surrounded by these systems on each situation, and we had a really a stock where these here in Frankfurt, where these were based, and at the same time I worked with these enterprise customers. So it goes from day to night with this technology stuff.
Yeah,
and with Sun Microsystems, they bought an application server, but they decided not to use it. And that was the reason I joined BEA, and many friends. And at that
wait
time,
a second. What was your first interesting or serious Java application you wrote?
That was something I really it was Hello World, of course, from the, you mentioned the SL 275 and these kind of things, and how to build a constructor class A, class B, and these kind of stuff. It was just something you learned 10 times before with different languages, and you just see it. Oh, that's Java. That's interesting. But there are no special programs at that, and at that time, C was more powerful on electronic devices, getting the APIs and all that stuff, maybe data samples on that, fast Fourier transformation, calculations. We did that stuff on C.
Okay.
So it was a slightly ramp up with Java, what you could do with that.
What you brought any programs at Sun Microsystems, or were we just more like consultant?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't wrote programs because no one wants to use it on the server side. I did a first study at a German railway company, having Java on the server side, and at that time they got 5 programmers for Smalltalk, and no one for Java, and it took almost a year, to convince the people using Java, and 10 years later they got 1,000 developers about Java, capable about Java.
Which application server you
really
used at Sun Microsystems back then? You remember?
NetDynamics.
It was later interesting because I started with the Java web server from Sun.
Yeah. The different technology, they bought a lot of stuff, but the application server they bought at that time, they didn't use it. And I was really evangelizing internal people to do some projects with that stuff, but the customer side wasn't ready to use Java, and internal people had some doubts about what is an application server. And then so many friends called me and said, "Hey, you need to join BEA. We are doing that stuff what you want to do." And that was the reason I joined BEA, where the recent acquisition happened at that time with WebLogic. And so I spent 10 years with BEA doing all that stuff on Java, with Java SE, with Java EE, and the application server WebLogic.
Which WebLogic or BEA version was it? Was it still Tenga?
Five.
Was it
it was the Tenga server, then 4.5, and then 5.1 WebLogic comes along. But I started with the Tenga server.
Interesting.
And then the company was called WebLogic, and BA acquired the company, and the product was renamed from Tenga to WebLogic server.
Mm-hmm. And what you did at BA?
Systems engineering, the same stuff before. We worked quite tight with the product management, with the engineering. I spent many times in San Francisco in our engineering office. And Andy Piper, who wrote the clustering with WebLogic, that was amazing. We got into the technical concept, how you could iterate this, how this is done, what could be optimized, what should be changed, how could you use it, how could you make things better on the software development. So that was in 99, 2000, that was really a fast time where technology comes along and people companies start with one or two application servers and they end up with thousands. And at that time, BA was the fastest company in history, reaching $1 billion US dollars in the software revenue. And that they did just what Sun at this time had should doing. To make it right, but they just used the hardware stuff, and software was done by partners. BA was a big partner of Sun, and the same with Oracle. We just used the Oracle database, and all that products had Sun Solaris as operating system, WebLogic, and the Oracle database, and then we got into customer projects writing their business logic.
Yeah, what I remember, I got lots of Oracle employees in my Sun courses, and I asked them why, and it turned out there was like Oracle Sun Competence Center, and this was and there were the Oracle people who used the Sun hardware, and they attended my architectural courses. They were extremely bright, so we had really interesting discussion around, databases and design just in the breaks and whatever. So I learned a lot during the workshop, actually. Yeah. And the next question is, so have you actually written BEA code, or were you more like consultants or wrote code around BA?
Consultant,
okay.
Consultant on that, we obviously could do some suggestions. Like in the past, I did the same with Texas Instruments in the Plano office, in the engineering office, making suggestions, proposals to change things. But this was really a clear thing that developers from the core team need to do this of quality assurance, and not someone outside changing a thing in your product, in your project. You could change it in the project, but it needs to be embraced in the product. Then everyone gets it, and that was the idea as well of open source, that a lot of people are working on that, making it better, but only a core team were able to write the code. Starting at WebLogic, there were three people writing the WebLogic, the Tenga server.
This was the BA, right? This is the first initials of the.
Yeah, these are the founders, Bill, Ed, and Alfred. But the Tenga server was, I think, Laurie Pittman, Bob Pasker, and the other guy inventing the EGBs. I can't remember his name. I met him at a Sun conference in Paris in 1995, I guess. Yeah, and that was really great to have a chat with him and talking some hours how he implemented the EGB 0.8 version. And And
I don't know whether you remember, but the first EJB version had there was no XML, so you had to persist the deployment descriptors with persistence utilities, and then XML took over because it was so popular.
Yeah.
So the industry actually wanted to have XML, and Sun said, okay, then we switch from Java configuration to XML. So this was the whole story, right?
Yeah. That was just one guy and taking care about the early days, and then it gets more high sophisticated, and within the specification, and Sun comes along, and the Sun was doing the specification, and more other companies was doing the practical proof how this is working and evolving. Yeah, and this is something which was really good, working together with people from Sun, from BEA, and of course from Oracle, because the projects consisting on that stuff. Yeah, and to just wrap the story up, and after the acquisition in 2008, 1 year later was the acquisition of Sun Microsystems. So all that stuff comes together, and the people at Oracle, they asked me to take care about the whole Java environment at customers and the community.
All right.
And
so BA was bought by Oracle. When was it?
Yes.
When was it?
2008, October 2008.
Yeah.
And 1 year later, Sun was bought by Oracle.
Perfect. So you are now back at Oracle without doing anything, right? So it was like you just observed the industry, and now you were in all the hot startups and companies without.
Right. But this was something which was really good. That the funding was even better if you're just on the technology side. Mm-hmm. It's business is really good, that someone takes care about it, but you need to have the right technology, and if you're convinced of a stack and how the stack should be evolved, you need to have a slightly plan where you come from and where you need to go and what should you change, and all that stuff changed, of course, from Java EE to Jakarta EE, but so many enterprises still reside on Java EE 8, because it's all there, and they don't have own developers. They just have business users. The same you mentioned for years. That it's quite good to have something which is ready to use. And on the other hand, you need more investment, own software developers, and breaking new ground for microservices needs to have a budget and more people taking care about that. And that was something which really evolves very, very fast. But we still see many different projects. I'm working now in a project with microservice architecture.
Wait a second.
But all
a second. One question, because we forget the history. What was the most interesting project at BA you saw or did or heard about? So,
there were lots.
Okay, or one of three or whatever. So just to know the ideas, what happened back then.
Yeah. One of the most interesting projects was the online banking system of Deutsche Bank. With millions of customers are still working there. And on the other hand, there were 300 projects at German Railway based on Java, and even on Java FX, but that's a different story. And on the other side, where DHL, Deutsche Post, they were a heavy user on Java with WebLogic, and I used to work with these companies, German Railway local here in Germany, but with Deutsche Bank and DHL International in the States or in Malaysia. It was really amazing how these projects evolved, and you saw all the programmers you work with on around the globe.
I think eBay was also BA, really right?
I don't know yet. I think in the early days.
Yeah.
It started with Charles Schwab in San Francisco, and this was one of the first customers in the Bay in 98, 99.
So you were basically consulting. So like you were so high-end BA consulting, helping with proof of concept architectures.
Yeah, systems engineer. Yeah, it was quite the same. And we always had a team of people writing software, doing proof of concepts, the same as now here in the Java team with experts asking the Oracle labs for help. Thomas Wertinger, for instance, and this is really good to work in a team. Each one has a dedicated task, but you work in a team because good ideas comes from many people.
So you know also the German BA consultants?
At BA, I worked in Germany.
Do you know
yes.
Roland Rich?
Yeah, of course.
Ulrike Sommer?
It was. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Because I
know all the colleagues.
With Roland and Ulrike, I spent
almost.
a lot of time, in task forces and bug hunting. But I never met you, so that's interesting. So you did exactly the same thing what I did, and I recognized you the first time at Jack's conference. I think you were already at Oracle.
Yeah.
So we never met in person, which is incredible.
No, I'm at BA. I spent many. Many Jack's conference from the very beginning in Mörfelden, Walldorf.
Yeah, exactly.
That at that time, I guess I was just I left Sun and I joined BA at that time.
Yeah, but still,
so.
I mean, I don't mean conferences, but I mean real world projects. And so we never met. And I even I have the trophy here on my desk. BA technical director, and I was invited to eWorld BA World, which became Oracle World in 2000 and
BA World
2003 or 4 or twice and had another chance to talk with BA people and stuff like that, and I also never met you there, so I met the other guys. So interesting story. Okay.
I remember you. I think we met first in San Francisco. Somewhere.
Java 1 probably.
But Java 1.
This was but still, I still didn't knew you from this perspective. I knew you more. My suspicion was you were like really interested manager, who would like to.
No, never.
This
never.
is my impression from you, always actually. And I asked once the Lars Röwekamp, you know him, this is a German fame, and I said, hey, who is actually the Wolfgang Weigand? So, hey, he works, but never mentioned that you are so deep into the weeds. So he is a former BA guy, so okay. But interesting. So now you rejoined Oracle again, and you care about Java again since 11 years. It's 11 years, yeah. And
all the time. Yeah.
And then my impression from you, because we had many chats since then, and my impression was, you are not fitting, the Oracle corporate. I don't know what I see as a typical Oracle, how to call it, look and feel. For me, you were always more like an independent hacker and huge Java fanboy. This was what I usually told about you, and this was funny. And joined my talk sometimes and had a nice feedback and say, you are a really interesting guy. So interesting, what are you actually doing? Because probably you are a wealthy angel investor or someone, just enjoys technology and joins stocks. But you are actually, but you are deep into the weeds. So what you did, also interesting question. What was your opinion of Java EE? Because I can imagine you are deep from C, C++, Pascal, so you're a system engineer. And Java EE is more set of APIs. So why what is your impression of Java EE? So Java EE came around, J2EE, J2EE 1.2, you probably saw that.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts about that?
It was the best thing ever, because it was embracing all that stuff in one box, with all the specifications.
Yeah.
And
this surprised me,
I was
because usually
totally
what I
convinced
thought,
at that
what I
time.
thought.
Yeah.
So I really liked Java EE, but the reason why I liked it is I don't have to learn all the stuff which doesn't matter. I just focus on the API, and I'm just faster, and I can actually keep up. This was my motivation.
Right.
But from your perspective, it does not make a lot of sense, because if you know the entire stack, you don't need Java EE. You can say I don't care about the APIs.
Yeah, yeah. But the people never would like to write programs from scratch, and you have all the responsibility on your own if you provide a program. And for instance, it was normal to have in 1,000 line code possible 6 errors mistake, which is even better. But you always more you write on infrastructure, more prone it is, and on a base infrastructure that was new at that time. You don't need to bring your own libraries to include this with C. You just had a base set, and as you mentioned, you can focus on the code you write to solve a problem. For instance, an online broker or a banking application, or a brokerage application. All that stuff that was easier on an existing infrastructure where you find programmers. They could just learn it, and the infrastructure is there.
So basically, it was the same story as my, but my was started with Java. So I have C and C++ knowledge, but I never wrote, let's say, Linux drivers or something like that. But I'm just high level C++ or C guy, and for me it was at the beginning of Java. We evaluated a lot, different frameworks. We always evaluated before the project started, and then what I saw is actually all the libraries are very similar. It's not like you can speed up the projects on orders of magnitude, just favoring SL4J over Java util logging or something like this. It was like a small decisions which actually are pointless and do not matter at all. And for me, it was like the Java EE or J2EE was the way to hack the system and the meetings, and to say we just pick this and we start with that and see what happens. If this is not enough, we can always go somewhere else or pick another framework. And the funny story was, it was always sufficient. So I really badly wanted to learn Scala or use Scala in my projects, and my hope was, like Java EE is not scalable or be too bloated or whatever. And the story is, I never had the chance, to migrate from Java EE or J2EE back then to Scala, because J2EE or Java EE or JMS, they were always good enough. This was my problem. Is J2EE was actually good enough, and not always this. It even was better than expected.
And that's the reason. So I'm without any details, but I'm really enjoying working with new evolving programming languages. We
Wolfgang,
have this at Sun.
We should stop this and cover this in the next episode. Otherwise, it will be 2 hours. So
you're right.
Perfect. So
we didn't cover Java FX. This is a different story.
Yeah, we will cover this soon. So the question is, where people can find you on the internet?
On the internet, on Twitter, it's Wolf Look.
Mm-hmm.
And
do you have a blog?
This was chosen. No, I write my articles at Jack's Enter. Mm-hmm. And it's all there. Okay. My written articles and all that stuff is on Jack's Enter. And I put some. All the communication is done via Twitter with Wolflock.
Okay, cool. So thank you.
Thank you, Adam.